So in today's video, we're going to be talking about how to market to a cold audience. There's going to be a couple methods that I'm going to give you that I have done and I've done for clients and seen other people, friends of mine that have, establishments in their marketing, how they actually market to their cold audiences as well. But first, I'm going to give you the ones that I practice in my own business and then also what we do for our clients. So there's going to be several things that we're going to talk about. Some of it's going to be related to social media. Some of it's going to be related to content marketing, but a lot of it is all benefiting you in some way, shape, or form in order to, generally speaking, reach a wider audience, get into the face of a lot more people that maybe don't even know who you are and are interested in some of the things that you might possibly have. So I'm gonna give you a couple of those techniques. I'm not gonna break this open into a super deep, kind of a marketing funnel type talk. It's a lot more in terms of getting that quick reach in a short amount of time, but also with less dollars as well. And obviously there's going to be a whole lot more tactics that somebody that's a lot more skilled and strategic with reaching a cold audience can give you, but these are just the things that are quick and easy to do that you don't have to have any kind of a marketing, a massive marketing mind. Maybe you are doing your own marketing on your own, or you have somebody that's just beginning or whatever. This is going to be for you. So first things first, you guys know that I'm a content marketing guy. We talk about social media a lot of video content and stuff like that. So obviously, first and foremost, the best way to get to a cold audience is to put out content marketing. Content in general perspective is really the top of the funnel. So I have this conversation with any clients that we have that we're taking on and distributing content for, producing and distributing their content. Is I tell them, hey, look, if you have a funnel and you have a marketing funnel or a sales funnel, whatever you want to call it, what we do is really at the top, especially organic social media, whether you're putting out YouTube videos, whether you're doing podcasts, social, like Instagram posts, TikTok, or whatever it is, it's really the top of the funnel. And because of that, that's meant more to get a cold audience. Yes, it is meant to build a stronger relationship with your current audiences, but the beautiful thing about content is because if you do it right, you can actually reach more people and reel people in. This is when you're getting into building a following, building a subscriber base. And that's really what social is meant to do, is really just reel people in and get them into your ecosphere so that you can continue to market to them on a consistent basis and eventually, obviously, drop them into the warm audience category. So something a little bit of a side note that I want to talk about with social media. A lot of people, especially in the sales world, they'll tell you, hey, you got to have 7 touches in order to close somebody, right? So you got to touch them 7 times with follow-up, with emails, with texts, or social media posts or whatever it is, and that's when you're going to close them. Listen, when it comes to the world of organic social media, the general, and this is a really wide number, it's a big delta that I'm about to give you here, but what we're seeing is that in order to actually convert somebody through just organic social media, you literally have to touch them 75 to 200 times. 200 times maximum, 75 times minimum, meaning somebody that is in your space. This is average, right? Somebody could potentially see your one Instagram post that really hit a home run and then they convert off of that. But in general speaking, in the average, you literally have to touch somebody 75 times before they even have a chance of actually doing something with your product or your service. And that's organic social media. I'm not talking about paid advertising. And so that's something you absolutely have to think about. But this is why it's important to put social organic out, because if you do it right, you can get people that just convert at a high rate, but you're also reaching a lot more of a wider audience without having to pay any money in order to do it. Now, that brings me into the second point here, is boosting posts. Now, a lot of marketers will tell you not to do this, but I actually like this strategy to just get into the face of another audience and get those impressions and get those views that maybe you didn't have before. So what I'll do is I'll actually take my best content, and for some of our clients, we'll take their best performing content and then boost it for about $50 to $100 over the course of 6 to 7 days. Now you can, really skin that cat however you want. You can actually make that 3 weeks. You can literally run it timelessly and spend $5 a day on it or whatever. But especially on Instagram and Facebook, this is a really, really good way to get into the faces of people that are in your target demographic very, very cheaply, right? So very efficiently and very cheaply. These social media platforms know exactly what people are looking for. They know what they're interested in. So allow them to do their work, but you just throw $100 at it and make sure it's a really good post. It's built well. If it's a video, if it's a image, make sure it's something that really hits home and talks about what you do, has a call to action and whatnot. So make sure it's a very strategic post, but take your best performing post and boost that. Normally, I'm actually boosting posts 3 to 4 times at a time and spending a couple $100s a week in order to get that out there in front of people, because it's also a lot of testing. Now, it's very cheap to run a $200 on 4 different social media posts to see what hits home a lot. So I'll do, say, a square video, a square image, then I'll do a 3x4 image, or even a little bit of a shorter video. On Instagram, unfortunately, you can't do promotions on IGTVs or Reels yet. I hope they do bring that in some point. But this is just a really good way, again, to get into the face of a lot of people. You can generally speaking, get into the face of 10 to 15,000 people for under $100. Now, that metric is gonna fluctuate depending on the audience you're going after and what platform you're on and how long you're gonna run the ad for. So just play around with that a little bit. I encourage you. I think that that's a really good way to get into the scope of view of a lot more people in order to get those impressions for you. And so obviously that's one of the best ways to paid advertising wise get into the face of a cold audience. Now, a next step, and I'm gonna go into a paid advertising technique again, but one of the next best steps is what's called a lead hook. Now, this is going to be a PDF, physical book. We got a client right now, and even my book funnel right now is an actual physical book. And what we're doing is we're using that book to actually be a lead hook. So it's something that we can give the audience in exchange for their contact information. So you'll have a web page filled out, a web page for them to go to. If you want to see my funnel, you can just go to reimarketingbook.com and you'll get to see my web form. Very simple, just getting their name, phone number, email address, and then their shipping address, and then their payment details and that kind of thing, because we're shipping them a physical book. But if you're doing a PDF download, make it very simple. Don't ask for their shipping address and all that stuff. And even if it's a PDF, I would even say stay away from a payment system unless it's something that's a really, really high dollar valuable item. I would stay away from the payment, but the whole goal here is to get into a wider audience, but also giving them something in return for them giving you their information, right? And so this is a really good technique to get into a cold audience and give them something valuable that they can take and do something with, and obviously make sure it's something that's really, really good that hooks into a service or a product that you have. But that's one of the best ways in order to get a cold audience to actually come back to you and say, hey, that was really valuable, thanks for that. What's the next steps in order to take action with you? All right, so I got one more technique, and obviously, like I said, there's gonna be a whole lot more techniques that you could do in terms of getting in front of a cold audience, but I just wanted to give you kind of 4 simple ones that you can really start off with, and maybe we'll go into other ones later on down the road. But the 4th one here is collaboration. Now, obviously, if you're putting out any content in any way, shape, or form, you have something to offer, right? Especially if you are an influencer. But if you're a business owner and maybe you have a mechanic shop or you have a donut shop or something like that, or a gym, you have something to offer. And one of the best ways to actually get into another audience, I call this audience tapping, is to actually collaborate with somebody else. So you'll go to a similar influencer. For me, it will be another real estate investor, somebody that has an audience that would use a service that I have. You know, for instance, I have several people that I've been on their podcasts and actually pulled clients from their audience. And so I'll go on their podcast, I will give value, I'll do whatever their format is, if it's interview style or whatever, answer all their questions, and really just make sure that I'm given a call to action at the end in order to reach out to me, email me or go to my website, follow me on social, whatever it is. And that's a really good way to dip into another audience, because now you're actually dipping into an audience, but you know it's a relevant audience because it is very much in alignment with what you do, what your services or products are. And then this is literally the format in which I did for my book. So I actually combined step 1, 2, and 3 in order to get a large audience, a cold audience dipped into for my book. So I actually took my book and it was transcribed from my podcast. And so I have this podcast, the REI Marketing Weekly, got episodes transcribed and cleaned them up, turned it into a book. And so there's 37 other people inside of my book. So I sent every single one of these people a book, asked them to post about it on social media, tag me, tag the website, and tell people to go order the book. And that's where literally probably 95% of my orders have come from, is just collaboration like that, right? So I used the book funnel, I used the existing content that I have, the organic content, and I did the collaboration. And so this is just a really good way because I know that the people that order this book are going to use some of my services in some way, shape, or form. I'll have something to pitch to them. So collaboration is a really big one. So those are really 4 very simple things that you can do in order to tap into a cold audience and get more people into your field of view. Now, the last thing here, once you got them, that cold audience into your funnel or into your field of view, whatever you want to call it, now it's time to execute. Now you actually got to give them a lot of value, make sure that they don't leave, and create them into a warm audience so that they can convert for you on the back end. That's the most important thing here. So that's all I got for you guys today. Hopefully that brought you value and did make sure that you implement some of these things. Maybe not all at once, but try to go after some of these things, make a game plan for it. If you did get value out of this, make sure you give it a big thumbs up, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and then make sure you are checking out the links down in the description below and connecting with me on other platforms. I do have a 1-hour consultation call that you could schedule with me. It's that first link down in the description. Thank you guys for watching, and I will catch you on the next one. See you later.